Hello everyone and welcome back to SAFC Fan TV and another edition of Thursday Night Live. Joining myself tonight on the panel, first and foremost, we have Jack Shields. Jack, how are you doing?
I'm all right, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. We also joined by Wafer. He sat there.
Sorry.
Very enthusiastic in the studio with his lovely cap on. Philly, I take it you're in a good mood.
Yeah, I've had a good day. I've taken my dog for a walk and then we took Colin out as well. It's been a canny day.
Glad to hear it. The live chat, as always, is open tonight. Already on there, very quickly, I want to say hello to Dan Humphrey, Richie Stubbs, John Forbes, Billy G2, Ian Wilkinson, CONRAD Tank, Emma Hansen, friend of the show, and Superman apparently joins us.
Hang on. Sorry, Jack. Emma Hansen used to be a friend of the show. We did ask her tonight, and she said, I'm not coming on so long as Jack Shields on. Whatever that was supposed to mean.
Why?
Letting us down whenever it matters. As for the live chat tonight, there isn't a great deal to get through this evening. So if you would like to have anything suggestive, if you'd like to put anything forward, put it in the live chat and we'll get through as many topics as we can throughout the evening. We'll hand it around the panel and see what you have to say. We are going to start out with...
Jack, or if you've got a question you'd like to put to the panel or whatever, why don't you come on and ask the question yourself? Is that not a good idea?
I mean, I know we're coming up with ideas.
Sorry,
No. Phil, if you want to roll with that, I guess we can do that. Would you like to plug the email then?
Yeah, can do. If you fancy coming on and just asking your question, then all you got to do is just as soon as I find it here, I've lost it. Just send us an email to there you go. SAFC Fan TV 73 at gmail.com, and we'll send you a link. Come on and ask your question. Back to you, Jack, in the studio.
There we go. Coming up with ideas on the spot. See if anyone comes and joins us. Very quickly, going back to the live chat as well. SPJ, Jake Parkinson, Karen Monk, who's got some lovely words to say about her husband, Philly there. And Ian Barron, the Darlington fan, a bit of a regular now on the live chat, joins us this evening as well. Lads, we are going to kick off with a bit of news this week. Not very eventful. The Rotherham game, of course, it is the same weekend as the national teams are set to play each other. Has been postponed. It was Rotherham that got it called off, not ourselves. And it's been rearranged for the final week of the season. I think it'll be our second last game on the Tuesday night, just before the season finale on the Saturday or Sunday. Jack, I'll go to you first. How do you feel about that? Is that a good decision?
I think it was a little bit out of our control, to be fair, if Rotherham have called it. But I think we probably would have done it anyway. We've liked to do that, haven't we, since we've been down in League One? If we've got anything other than a full quarter of squad, full quarter of players ready for the game, we'd like to call it off. And I think we've got good memories of the last week having home games. In my experience, I remember we under Gus Poyet, we had a home game in the last week that we arranged, West Brom, that we won, which clinched the Great Escape, so to speak. And we also had one last week under Sam Allardyce, the last week of the season, which we beat Everton to famously keep ourselves up and relegate our nearest and dearest 12 miles up the road, which I'm sure Sunderland fans will have good memories of. So, yeah, good memories of it, doing it in the past. And I think ultimately, Rotherham might be promoted by then. I don't know. It's nip and tuck at the minute, but they look like with one or two games to go, they might already be up. So will they be focused and motivated as much if we need, say, a point or a win to make sure that we get in the playoffs? I don't know. Perhaps that might work in our favour. And I think I personally like a good night game, particularly if the weather's, I'm hoping, a little bit better than has been recently for the night games, because it's usually freezing at the stadium at night. And I think in terms of the squad, we need to, if we can, if we're doing ourselves a disservice by not having our players there. So if we have even a couple away with international duty, you want to be playing with as full squad as you can to get the maximum out of your players. So I think it's a good idea, and hopefully we can get a good win to seal our place in the playoffs. It might be.
Yeah, Philly, before we go to you on this, hello, Richard Northage on the live chat. EA Homestyles on there. How about Mark Neal as well? Good evening to you. Good evening to Spannerman, Jeff Elcroft joins us. Tony Lee on there as well says, all right, Monkey. And the Jocks as well as Jake Parkinson in the live chat as well saying, easy win in my opinion. Think if Rotherham has won the league already, they won't care if we beat them and they may not be playing at their best. Just quickly as well, 84 people watching, 22 likes. So if you haven't already, please do give us a like. Just hit that thumbs up icon, see if we can get to 100 before the end of that. And it is free to subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't done so already. Philly, the Rotherham game being postponed then by the opposition, rearranged for the last game of the season. Is that good news, do you think, for us?
It all depends on how results go, really, for Rotherham, doesn't it? Nice to have them in. Our last home game was going to be Cambridge at home on the Saturday. Now it's Rotherham, which is a bit more of a tasty tie, if you like. Brilliant if Rotherham are already up, then that's great. I know Jack said about he's got memories of great home games, sort of the last week of the season. All I can think about is those when we've had postponed games, last game of the season, when we've been away, like when we played Fleetwood and stuff like that. We had games in hand, they were there. You know, we could have gone up automatically and everything, and then we lost to Fleetwood, and then I think Southend on the last day of the season, and it all went belly up. Yeah, I'd like to think that that Rotherham have actually won the league, because even if they're up, you know, if they've not won the league, they've got something to play for. But I mean, a lot of people now are saying that, you know, this is Wigan's, and they're saying that Rotherham could well drop out of the top two and the MK Dons take their place. Personally, I don't think so. I think the MK Dons have been on a good run. I think they're going to sort of hit a bad spell. But it's great if they're already up and they don't need the points. But, you know, if they need the points, and so do we, then it could make the last game of the season away at Morecambe interesting. I don't know. Depends on how the results go, Jack.
Yeah, fair enough. Quickly back to the live chat. Look at David Jones, who says, I hope you stay in the top six and go up, fellas, it's time. So not sure which club you support, David, but thank you regardless. OB3 as well says, hello, the lads from Houston, Texas. Thank you from joining us all the way in the States. Hello to John Forbes. God, frightened me life there. Hello to John Forbes as well on the live chat. Hello. Ian Wilkinson as well saying Rotherham might need to win to get to the top spot. Yuck. And Mad Mac as well says, I hate having games in hand. It's always a license to mess it up. As for myself, I think it's probably a smart decision. I mean, you know, we've touched on how it could be played at a time when Rotherham's already confirmed promotion or hopefully already won the league. You would think and hope they would maybe play a bit more of a rotated side, give a few lads who've not had much of a game all season. Couple of the under-23s maybe who are scratching for a few first team, and it's an opportunity, as well as maybe a few people who they want to get rid of. I don't know what Philly's laughing at.
Cam's just sent me a photograph.
Right, okay. Well, it must have been one of them photographs sent by a reaction. But anyway, yeah, I'm hoping they're going to play a bit more of a rotated side. There might be a few players who they're hoping to put in the shop window who aren't quite as good is the lads who's been playing all season. But as well for me, I think about lads who are not only out on international duty, but lads who are out with injuries. I mean, Pritchard and Broadhead, I don't think either of them is expected necessarily to make a full recovery in time for the Rotherham game. So if they do return, if they do return, you know, for the last week of the season, which I think they will do, you know, again, that's two massive players. That could have a massive impact in terms of us getting a result, really, couldn't it? In the team to help us out. So I think it is a good decision, but like you say, Phil, it all comes down to how we play on the day. Move on a little bit then.
Yeah, that's a fair point, and I don't think we should. You know, we will have these players back fit, but the bottom line is, this is all about. We shouldn't be looking at other teams and saying, you know, how they're doing. All we should be concentrating on is going, right, we can beat these. And I know the last two games have been horrendous to watch, but we've got 6 points from them. And hopefully this is the start of our momentum going into it. And if it is, then by the time we play Rotherham, it doesn't matter whether they're up or they're not up. We should have enough momentum. We're playing them at home, you know, under the lights. Last week, the last home game of the season, you know, we shouldn't be worrying about these teams. Hopefully, so
yeah. And as well, I think for us now, every game counts from now at the end of the season. I don't think there's going to be a game where nothing's riding on it. I think it'll probably go down to the last game of the season, whether or not we confirm our playoff spot. And I hope it, I hope we'll confirm it as soon as we can. But I would imagine it's going to be a fairly similar situation when we do welcome Rotherham to the Sol on the last week of the season, whereby if we're fighting for our lives and they've already won the league, rotated the squad a little bit to give a few other lads a game, you would hope that would work in our favour. Moving on just a little bit, of course, as
sorry,
part
can
of...
I quickly jump in again? Sorry. As much as I hate it, I do hope it goes to the last game of the season. I like everything in the bag, but I'd like to think that we're going to Morecambe, and we need something, because hopefully we might get more sort of supporters going. And
because you've got a show on and you need to make money out of your show.
It's only a small little ground at Morecambe, though, isn't it? How many does Morecambe hold? I went there in the Checker Trade a few years ago. We did. I don't see many Sunderland fans going there. There's only about 500.
Yeah, we was there. But I know people who are actually just going to go for the day out. And if we do need something, they might go and get in the away end as well. I don't know. But yeah, as much as I hate it going the last day, and especially with it being Morecambe, we could find ourselves on the last day that we need a point and they need a point to stay up, so it's, it could well be one of those, I hate it. I like everything tied up by the last game of the season, but, if it gets more Sunderland fans there, and can we plug?
Oh, here we go. Yes, here we are.
If you go into Morecambe, by the way, there you go. Johnny's Bar on the seafront, before and after the game, 12:30 kickoff. It's free admission. You don't have to pay to get in. So join us in Johnny's if you're going over to Morecambe, Jack Shields. Right. Sorry, Jack. Back to you.
No, I understand these things have to happen. Just quickly going back to the live chat. Ian Barron isn't a fan of international football. Once it's banned, apparently saying there's no need for it and there's enough football already played. DJ Sizzler Watts on there saying says he thinks if we hadn't sacked Lee Johnson, we'd be in the top two in 2 points off the top. And Hampton saying MK wouldn't surprise me. I guess just maybe thinking MK Dons possibly nipping themselves into second spot for the end of the season. And Mad Mackham as well saying, do we not think teams are as dangerous when they are relaxed, celebrating being up by scoring a few more, potentially. However, I would bring your attention back to the final game of the championship season when Wolves had already won the league and we beat them 3-0 on the final day of the season. I know we were already relaxed as well, but I think they weren't really bothered about the outcome of that day. Lads, of course, the international break is why this game's being called off. And in that, I try to point out Corey Evans and Trey Hume have both been called up to the Northern Irish senior squad. After only playing 2 games since joining in January, Trey Hume making the senior squad for Northern Ireland. Jack, I'll go to you. To me, that just screams that we aren't utilising them enough, really, if the Northern Irish senior setup have seen that much in them already.
Yeah, bit of a strange one, Trey Hume, because I thought that when he came into the side, I thought he did all right. I mean, he didn't set the world alight. You weren't coming away from the stadium saying, oh, he was amazing. But I think when you look at the options, we're tending, as I've harped on about quite a bit, we're tending to play centre midfielders at fullback, and I just don't see where the value is in that when you've got a fullback who's quite highly rated. He's young, so he fits the model of where we're going down this kind of ethos of getting young players in and developing them to either grow with us in this league or a high league or potential sell-on value. And he's got great potential. And I think you're only going to see that potential when he plays regularly. It's not like he came on and had a stinker. I mean, people will probably say in the chat, well, he didn't do anything great, but I think he didn't do anything wrong either. And I think sometimes, particularly with young players, it's only by, giving them a try and playing them in the correct position and seeing.
Giving them a try, spelt.
Giving them a try. Giving them a try. Hey!
Yeah. So, yeah, I think with him, we know what Corey Evans is about, and, in my opinion, not much what we're seeing from him. And we know he gets regularly games for Northern Ireland. But I think with Trey Hume, it does show that we may be underusing him a little bit. And I think, he can point to that and say, look, I'm getting called by my country. I'm highly rated in Ireland, and I've done all right in the spells that I've played. So I don't see why we aren't utilising him a little bit more. And it's going to be, a tough run in. And then, because if you think about how early the season's finishing, it's not finishing in the middle of May, it's finishing in late April. We're going to have a lot of games coming in. We've already got injuries, as you've touched on, Jack, and I think we need to get the maximum out of the squad. So you've got an option there where you could play Try Hume, and he hasn't featured as much as he should have. So I would agree with you. I think we need to be utilising our squad to the maximum, and I think that includes players like Try Hume that are on the fringes. Maybe need to feature a little bit more.
I find it strange as well how Evans and Hume have been called up, but Winchester hasn't. I mean, I think we all agree that Evans has been very poor as of late, and of course, Try Hume's been brought in to play right back. But Winchester, who's also Northern Irish, has been playing as our probably senior right back for the last, for most of the season, really. In at least in my opinion, I could probably do a better job in the middle than Corey Evans. Jack, I'll go back to you before I go to Philly. Do you not find that bit peculiar?
Yeah, I think well, from what we've seen in Sunderland, Winchester would be a better option in the centre midfielder. I think Corey Evans is quite highly rated in the Northern Ireland setup, though, isn't he? I don't know if he's captain or vice captain, or he has some kind of leadership role within the Northern Ireland camp. So I think sometimes when you get that kind of status as a player, you often get picked regardless of performances. So yeah, Winchester may be a bit unlucky, but I think it's better from our point of view. I think that the less players we have on international duty, you know what I mean, the better for us. We need our players, to be as fit as they can for Sunderland. It's a selfish way to look at it, because they'll be looking at it thinking, I want to play for my country. But from a purely Sunderland perspective, I'm not bothered. I'd rather Winchester stays and rests.
Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, I think Doyle and Circle will probably get called up as well for the respective youth sides, as well as maybe someone like Jamalji or someone like maybe getting called up for one of their nations. Yeah, it's a fair point. I think it happens a lot with international football. It's not necessarily on how you've been. It's not necessarily on merit. It's just your reputation. If you've played for the national side for quite a while, you tend to get picked quite a lot. It's probably, I think it's something that Southgate's moved away from in his time at England. In previous years, managers have always went with whoever was played under previous regimes. I think Southgate's done quite well to kind of go away from that. Phillips, before we go to you, David Jones on the live chat says he's a Bolton fan. So thanks for tuning in, David. I hope you're enjoying the show. Welcome to the channel. Dean SAFC on the live chat says could be Oxford who drops out of the top 6. Anthony Perth as well saying, I hope we don't have to rely on the last game of the season to decide if we get a playoff position. It's not really a fortunate position to land yourselves in, is it really? Mad Mackham on the live chat as well said, 100% Philly, sod watching league, play them to win. Play to win them all and see where it shakes out. Would like to say thank you as well to Marion and Carl Taylor, who are as always tuning in from Boston, Massachusetts, who say going for a 2-0 win on Saturday. Fancy Jermaine Defoe to get a goal. That would be brilliant. And they've also donated $5 as well. So thank you to Marion and Carl for that. Billy with this Bowers style clap there. Yes, all proceeds from the super chat go towards running the channel. It still does cost money to make to run, so anything that's donated does just go to help us out. Before I go to you, Philly, Tony on the live chat has said, "Do you get free Johnnies from the show?" So we don't know what he's on about. If anyone could clarify that in the live chat, would be greatly appreciated. Philly,
yes, you get into Johnnies for free. You do.
Oh. Right. That's just what he must mean.
Right. And also, Marianne and Carl Taylor say they think we'll finish 6th. And David Jones, who's the Bolton fan, says Karen sending pics of her lovely curtains to Philly. I've got to say, I don't think so. Our curtains are massive. Right. So, what was the question, Jack? Sorry, because you've not come to us for a bit.
No, it's right. So, Try Hume and Corey Evans both called up for the Northern Irish squad. Maybe he's missing a trick with Try Hume. Could he be getting more minutes?
Well, I don't know. All I can think is that the Northern Ireland squad can't be very good if they're calling up Corey Evans, unless they've started St Patrick's Day early and was on the Guinness when they've done that squad. I don't understand it really. And Try Hume, I don't think we've seen enough of him anyway to make judgment on if he's good enough or not. But either they see something in him and know that he's good for the squad, or they may just be light on the ground and they're having to call him up. I'm not a big fan of the internationals, to be honest. I don't even know why we have an international break, because because players get tired and stuff like that, isn't it?
Well, they're playing more football then if they're getting called up for the international squads, so there'll be even more players.
Well, of course they are. You know, I mean, it never used to happen in my day. I mean, you used to have an international, and then you know, it's just boils my water.
Urine.
It does. But yeah, I mean, you know, Trey Hume just may not be good enough to get a place that I was, you know, ahead of other people, or you know, we could be missing out on something. And I mean, it would be interesting, you know, if he gets a start for Northern Ireland, and you know, plays an absolute blinder, then that could put him in the picture, you know, for even getting into our team. So it can't be a bad thing, really, because it's not like we're missing him. It's not like he's a regular first teamer. So and like I say, it could do us a favour in the long run.
Yeah, I think as well, part of the reason why he isn't maybe getting a game at Sunderland at the moment is just because of the formation we're going on. Neil Fury on the live chat says, I think a lot of the teams we play are playing 3-5-2, so not playing a back four is a bit unfortunate for him. I feel like a lot of the time we are preferring the back three with Winchester as the right centre half. I don't know what Trey Hume's abilities will be to play centre half or wing back, but I think he's probably going to be more suited to a back four because he has played more full back than he has wing back or centre half. So I guess maybe that's potentially something as well. If you play Winchester, you're a bit more flexible. You can go with a back three, or you can tuck in and go with a back four, and you've got an extra man in midfield then. Astronaut Kaza on the live chat, however, says, Trey, I think he can be a good right back. I feel like when he did come on, he can also drive forward. Ian Wilkinson says, don't like Philly on the subs bench, so I don't know what he's referencing there. And Gordon Seymour, the man with great vision, has said, will there be 5,000 fans travelling to Plymouth on the 17th of April? I doubt it. I doubt we'll get 5,000.
I think we only get 2,600 or something, is it? Something like that. I think that's standard.
Home Park's about 20,000, is it? 18, maybe not that, maybe 17, 18, 20,000. So I don't know how many we'll get. I don't think it'll be 5,000, or given how long the journey it is. Like, I mean, we are mad, which wouldn't surprise us if we did get that, but I can't see us travelling down in that many numbers.
Yeah,
I think it's so many that stand holes where they put us behind the goal, and I know that's is it Bolton or somebody? If somebody's just been given 2,600, which I would imagine is the maximum amount, but I don't know. I mean, it'll still be a good turnout from Sunderland fans anyway.
Yeah, we are joined now by Jake from the Stacey West blog, Stacey West podcast. Sorry, Jake is a Lincoln fan. Jake, I know I spoke to you about an hour ago, but how are you doing? Are you doing fine?
Yes, mate. I've just had my dinner, so I'm in a good mood. I've got a brew. Talking about the imp, so what more can go wrong probably than a heavy defeat? So
yeah, to the people watching as well, if you do have any questions you would like to ask Jake, of course as a Lincoln fan, put them in the live chat. We'll read out as many as we can, but I guess an obvious point to start off with is Chris Maguire. I know we talked a little bit earlier that you're not maybe a massive fan of him. What's your thoughts, and what's the general consensus among Lincoln fans about him?
Well, Mag sort of had a bit of a tetchy period, most of it of late, really. We played Hartlepool, obviously we shouldn't too far away from you guys in the cup, and we got beat 1-0 at home, and he squared up to one of our supporters and had a bit of a scrap with him, which you guys probably would think that's probably normal for Mags. He's put in a really good few performances. Obviously, he showed up at your place pretty well. And then apart from that, like I said to you earlier, Jack, it's all about himself. He's all he's got to play the killer pass. He's got to score the goal. And it's a bit of a shame, really. And I think we played a game at home a couple of weeks ago, and he squared up to a fan again. So on the edge, hasn't won over the Lincoln fans entirely, but I think that game up at the Stadium of Light in January probably will live long in the memory. And if it weren't for Chris Maguire, we wouldn't have come away and won. So mixed opinions, but no, definitely a top footballer, just perhaps maybe has a bit of an attitude problem.
Yeah, he loves the big occasions, doesn't he? And I think that it suited him coming back to Sunderland. He had a point to prove against Lee Johnson, and I think he wanted to play in front of the Sunderland fans as well again. Philly, have you got a question for Jake? You're waving your pen at us.
Yeah, Jake, I'm just wondering, Is he a bit inconsistent? Because we found that with us, he could be sort of brilliant, then he'd go missing for a while. Has he been all right for you?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Philly. Plays well, maybe 2 or 3 games on the bounce, and then he'll just go missing. He's played in quite a few positions actually for us this year. So he's played in the number 10, he's played wide right, and he's played as a number 9 as well, which probably hasn't helped him. But no, he has these games where he looks absolutely untouchable. No one can get near him. And then, 3 weeks later, he gets the ball and the ball pings off in 5 yards and he can't keep the ball. So, yeah, massively inconsistent. But I think, as well as, I'm not just blaming Chris, I think it's been a whole Lincoln City problem this season. We've been too inconsistent based off, last season as well, and how good we were last year. It's just such a drop off, and I don't blame that entirely on Chris Maguire, but I don't think he's sort of helped himself. And but no, to answer your question, massively inconsistent. He's got such a high ceiling, but such also a low trough as well. But you just want to see that player that we saw, that you guys saw at Sunderland many times. Do you know what I mean? In those big moments, you want to see it more often. But unfortunately, I just don't think he's got it in him.
If it's any consolation to you, I can guarantee he'll be absolutely superb on Saturday for you. So don't worry about that. So Jack.
I think he, like I said earlier, he does turn up for the big occasions. He isn't the most consistent player in the world. He's probably not going to string together tons and tons of performances, but I think what he will do is on occasions and big moments he will shine, like he did when you came up the stadium, like he scored a hat-trick. I remember the only goal across 2 legs in the playoff semi-finals the first season in League One against Portsmouth. That was a vital goal. So he does show up in moments, really. He scored a hat-trick as well, I think, for us against Wimbledon, I think, as well, in the beginning of the second season in League One. So he like I say, he does show up in the big moments. Jack, have you got anything you'd like to put to Jake?
No, it's just something about Chris Maguire that I always hit home with me. I think he thrives on a bit of hostile crowd and a bit of atmosphere against him. Do you know what I mean? He loves to be in and amongst it all, and if there's fans are giving him a bit of stick, he ends up. He's one of those players. I always think with footballers, if I was a footballer, how would I go? I think there's 2 ways you can go as a footballer. You can either crumble when the fans are giving you a bit of stick and you can not play well, or you can thrive on it. And I think Chris Maguire is one of those that does the latter. He tends to thrive on the fans giving him a little bit of stick, and he proves everyone wrong. And I think that was partly down to why he played so well at the stadium. He obviously had a bit of a needle with Lee Johnson, didn't he, when Lee Johnson was our manager back then. So I think it was partly that and partly a little bit of stick from the Sunderland fans. So I think if he does play, and I think Jake might be able to clear up whether he might be in contention or not, but if he does play, I think the Sunderland fans, it's easy to say, I think the Sunderland fans should just try and get behind Sunderland, because if we give stick to Chris Maguire, it always has a habit of coming back to bite us in the arse, not just with him, but other players as well. And he's chance to be booing him and giving him stick, and he's chance to pop up and get the winner. So I think if he does play, Sunderland fans can hopefully just focus on our team and not too much on like an opposition player like a Chris Maguire, because it'll probably, like I say, come back to haunt us when he gets the winner or something.
He was rested on Tuesday night, if that sort of. So I think Appleton would have said, right, the big game for you is on Saturday, so you can just have the rest against Rotherham. We're not going to win, so you can just go out there and put your feet up and then turn up in the game against your former employers, and hopefully you can do a smidgen of what he did at your place. And but we'll just have to see. I'm highly doubtful.
Yeah, we did ask for any questions in the live chat. We've got one so far. Ian Wilkinson says, is Jake in his wardrobe? Which isn't particularly Lincoln versus Sunderland related. Jake, are you in your wardrobe?
I'm not. I'm in my bedroom. I have got a clothes rail just there. I'm a bit of an edgy indie kid, so I don't have cupboards. I have clothes hangers. So probably what he's allowed into.
Is that a lion and a witch behind you as well?
Yeah, no, yeah, Phil, I should have told you guys about that. Narnia is right through that door.
Right, okay. I'll tell you what, Jake, can you just, because I've just Googled it myself, because I wasn't aware of it, but you call the Stacey West podcast. Yes. I was going to ask who Stacey West is. Do you want to inform people of that? Because I wasn't aware of it. And,
So the Stacey West is the 2 surnames of the 2 Lincoln City supporters that unfortunately died at the Bradford fire disaster. So we were playing Bradford, I think, in Division 3 or Division 4. Bradford had won the league at that point, and they were beaten us comfortably, I think. And back in those days, Valley Parade was obviously made of wood. The rumour goes, as it sort of goes, a supporter, obviously all the rubbish gets pushed down the bottom of the stand. A supporter put a lit cigarette down there, set the entire main stand on fire. And Stacey West is the two names of the two Lincoln City supporters that died. So the club sort of pretty much straight away. I mean, I wasn't born at the time, as you can probably tell by my fresh face. Decided that it'd be a good idea to make an initiative to name a stand after those two supporters, and it's a difficult one. But we thought as a podcast team that there's no better name to sort of to commemorate those two supporters, and we're still in touch with the families. Whenever we have a home game sort of around the Bradford fire disaster, I think a lot of clubs do it for Hillsborough and other things like that. We lay a wreath in front of the Stacey West stand, which is where your supporters will be on Saturday, and have a massive sort of commemoration of their lives. And it's a bit of a sad story, but hopefully it's it's good to see that we're all sort of paying respect still.
Yeah, I think it's a nice touch. I mean, obviously you three weren't born. I remember watching it happen as it did on it was Football Focus at the time, and the live pictures I watched it, and it was horrendous. But yeah, I remember it. I remember it well. 85, I think it was it?
Yeah. May. I think it was May the 11th, 1985.
Yeah.
It doesn't get talked about as much, which upsets me. Obviously, being a Lincoln fan, but everyone's attention tends to be on Hillsborough and the 96, and it's publicised more, probably because it was two bigger football clubs playing. But at the end of the day, it's the same. People shouldn't go to the game and lose their lives, should they? And it should equally be respected, I think.
Yeah. No, I remember it happening. I remember watching it, and I always remember that it was Lincoln who were actually playing Bradford at the time, because it's one of them sort of quiz questions what come up. But I think that's a nice touch anyway. Calling your podcast after that, Jack.
They used to actually show it. I think I remember seeing it when I was a young lad at school, because they used to show it as like fire safety videos. You know what I mean? How quickly it can, and if you actually watch it, we watched it, and I was staggered at how quickly it went. You know what I mean? It went from just a small little kind of fire, that you would get on a piece of paper or something like that, if you set that alight or something, or a few trees or bushes or something like that, to suddenly within literally 5 minutes, maybe not even that, the whole stand was engulfed, and it was crazy. I think the only positive, it might seem like a bit of a strange way to explain it, but the only positive was that stadiums got better, didn't they, when you started having those disasters? So 85 with Bradford and Lincoln, and then Hillsborough, and stadiums did improve, and I think it's good, because footballers should be safe in football stadiums, shouldn't they? The 80s was a bad time for football, cramming everybody in, and the way football fans were treated, wasn't good. So if there was a positive to come from it, that was probably the only positive, that things improved later on down the line. But obviously tragic that so many fans lost their lives. I do have a question for Jake, though, just about Lincoln. Considering how well you did last season, I mean, obviously you beat us in the playoff semi-final, got to Wembley, unfortunate to lose to Blackpool. What do you think the drop-off's been this season? Why are you struggling so much? Was it that you were overachieving last season and you were underachieving now, or are you just bottoming out? Or why such a dip from kind of 5th place to 19th or wherever you are now?
I think it's probably last season was the perfect storm for small clubs to do well, obviously with the wage cap. And then you look at the loanees that we had last year. Alex Palmer, who's a really well-respected goalkeeper at West Brom. We had TJ Ioma, who stopped that goal on the line from Spurs. And then the ones that were magic, Brennan Johnson, who's now reportedly a £20 million player playing for Nottingham Forest in the Championship. Morgan Rogers, who was worth a fair amount of honk when he would move from West Brom to Man City in their academy. It was the perfect storm, and unfortunately we couldn't get over the line. I think probably just about did enough against you guys in the playoffs, and then lost that to Blackpool, which I thought was a fair result, guttingly. And then obviously the wage cap sort of gone this year, hasn't it? So clubs can pay what they want for players, and I remember Appleton, he's not really one to moan about money and not be able to sign players, but I'll give you the anecdote that we were about to sign Marvin Johnson, obviously, who's at Sheffield Wednesday. He'd worked under Appleton before at Oxford. Everything was done. And within 5 minutes of Marvin Johnson signing the contract, Sheffield Wednesday rang and offered him 3 times the money that we offered him. And as a player, I don't begrudge them because obviously it's such a short career. And we just had many moments like that. A lot of our top targets moved on to the Championship clubs, which is fair enough. And then we've lost George Grant, who, as you'll know, is quite influential in our team last year. Teo Eden, who I don't think made any friends at the stadium alike with his run down the touchline when Tom Hopper scored. He left to Blackburn. And yeah, we just haven't recruited as well and as smartly. Obviously, the money's holding us back. But I think perhaps the stubbornness of the manager to change his way, he plays out from the back regardless of who we're playing, when we're playing. So you'll notice that even if you press us extremely high, if you have Ross Stewart, I don't know if Nathan Broadhead's available, but Jack Clark, Patrick Roberts up front. If you're pressing us right against our 18-yard box, we won't change. We'll pass it out from the back. We'll play around you if we can. So it's probably a little bit of the stubbornness. The recruitment wasn't as great. And then you've got the bigger clubs who are actually performing this year. So, Ipswich doing well, Pompey doing well, you guys doing well, Sheffield Wednesday doing well. It's an hard league to get out of. It's a really hard league to get out of. And
tell us about Christ, 5 years.
Yeah, I mean, we're sort of hoping to stay in it, which sort of tells you the 2 levels these 2 clubs are at, isn't it? So, yeah, I just think it's gone against us this year. But you know what? Being mid-table in League One, 6 years ago, I was going to watch Lincoln at places like Hyde United, Tamworth, Hayes, and Yedding. So to be playing you guys in the league fixture and Ipswich and Pompey and Sheffield Wednesday, I'd say I'm living a bit of the high life at the minute.
Yeah. Jake, you mentioned how, maybe a bit of stubbornness from the manager. He's like to play out from the back all the time and that can cost you. Is there any main weak points telling inside? Is there anything other than that we can really look to exploit, or is there any way you might not get a result type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, we do like to concede a fair few chances. We played Wimbledon last Saturday, and there was TJ Ioma, who I mentioned, played in those playoffs last season. We signed him permanently in the summer. He is a right back playing at centre back, which has its difficulties. We've just gone to the 3 at the back system, which has made us a bit better defensively, but we still give away opportunities. Like Wimbledon probably could have had 2 or 3 themselves on Saturday. And I just fear that if we're passing it around the back and we give the ball to Patrick Roberts, Jack Clark, Ross Stewart, Dan Neal, whoever you guys are playing in the attacking third, any of them will bury a chance from 12, 13 yards. So that's probably one. I'm not sure if Regan Poole will be back. He's been massive for us this year. He missed out on Tuesday night at Rotherham. And sometimes we just look passive in midfield. We don't have any. Liam Bridcut, who's obviously played for you guys for a long time ago, he's been out injured most of the season, which is a bit of a shame. So we lack a bit of backbone in midfield. So if you play 2 physical lads in the middle of midfield, I think you can dominate us and probably beat us there. And we sort of just act like we're not there. We just float around, pretend we're marking you, and let you run behind us. So, I mean, there's a few. I didn't want to go into too much detail because I don't want to give you guys a game plan ahead of Saturday. But I have a feeling this might just be another home defeat. And obviously, the home record itself, Jack, one of the worst home records in the league. So, yeah,
I think we've got a pretty bad away record.
Yeah, Alex Neil's son. Did you hear that? He heard that, so don't worry about that. Yeah, you got that all right. Yeah, brilliant. He's got that. Don't worry. All right, cheers.
Yeah. Cheers, I think that should play out in hands really, because I think what we've struggled with the last few games has probably been creating opportunities. Defensively, we've been a lot tighter over the last few weeks, but it's in the final third we've struggled to just get fluid and find space and create chances and get shots off on goal. So I hope that kind of does play out in hands. And of course, if Alex Neil is watching the show on the off chance, I must have been.
Yes, he just rang us up, hasn't he?
Brilliant. I mean, alternatively as well, and we all know what Chris Maguire can do, but what's the main kind of strong points to Lincoln Center? If you are to get a good result, what do you think it's going to be? Because
go on. Carry on, Jake. Go on.
No, it's all right, Philly, mate. You ask away, mate.
Well, I was just wondering because I would just you're 18th in the league at the moment, and you're what is it, 8 points,
8 points
above the drop zone. Are you worried that you could get sucked into that, or do you think you've got enough points and enough strength in you there to still be comfortable and stay up?
It's difficult because what we like to do is we like to give our supporters a heart attack sort of every 3 to 4 weeks, where we go and win a couple of games and then we lose. So, for example, recently we beat Plymouth, you guys, and Sheffield Wednesday, but we've lost to Doncaster, Gillingham, etc. at home. So we like to get away from it just enough and then make a couple of defeats. The other teams around us win and we go straight back into it. I think we've got enough quality in the squad for me to stay up comfortably. The manager's very tactically astute.
Sorry, Jay. We'll clip that bit up if you do go down.
Yeah, that's
you're
fine.
saying you've got enough strength, and we'll get it all over the socials for you. Don't worry.
I'm sure you guys would have seen worse teams than us so far this year. I think Crewe are horrendous. They might have played well at your place on Saturday. Gillingham, well, they're god awful, aren't they? When they play long. Doncaster,
no, they're just a typical League One club.
No,
they've even
sacked Steve Evans, and I still don't like him.
I can't stand that. Just get behind the ball, kick you to bits, and stop what you can do. But we aren't going to do anything ourselves.
Yeah.
It usually works against us, though, to be fair, doesn't it?
Oh, it usually works, Jack, and that's why I hate it so much.
But the thing is, if you go physical against us on Saturday, I can see you beating us quite comfortably. I don't know if you've got that side. I don't know. Obviously, we didn't see it against us earlier in the year. I don't know if you guys have got that in you. Whereas Gillingham, when we played Gillingham, they went severely long, as you can understand, under Neil Harris, and they just dominated us in the air. Couldn't win anything. We're weak. We're weak.
I think, to be honest, getting physical is probably one of the weaker things we experienced. Really, I think a lot of our bad results this season have came when teams have bullied us. Technically, we've been better footballers than them, but they've outmuscled us. They've bullied us. They've kicked us to bits. They've been more physical than we have. They've put a bit more fight to it, and that's why we've came away with the bad results. If you say you're not very physical, that does put into our hands, because we aren't really, but we tend to struggle when teams are. Jack?
I was just going to echo on what you say. I think when you look at our squad, we're more of a technical ball-playing squad, aren't we? You know what I mean? You look at some of the players we've got, the likes of Dejaku, Pritchard, Clark, Roberts. We have Gooch to a certain extent. We do have players that are technically probably better than this level, but in terms of physicality, strength, power, we are still lacking a bit, it's a problem that we've had since coming down to this level, haven't we? And you get certainly all the Sunderland fans will be saying, we need a couple of big lads in the team, we need a couple of physical, horrible players. And sometimes, it becomes a bit of a cliche with Sunderland fans, but it is right certain times. I remember particularly Rotherham this season. I don't know if Jack or Phil were at Rotherham, but I went down to Rotherham and we got physically bullied all over the pitch. I mean, not only did they beat us, football, and they just physically battered us all over the pitch, and we just couldn't cope with it. So I think it's not our strong point either. But if you're saying you aren't that strong, then that's okay by me.
Yeah. Just very quickly, 121 people watching and 73 likes. So if you haven't already, please do give us a like. Just press that thumbs up button. See if we can get 100 before the end of the show. And a reminder as well, it is free to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Jake, I know I haven't got you forever. Mad Mac on the live chat said it might be a 0-0 then. So on that topic, do you have a score prediction for the game?
Yeah, I'm not as bold as you, Jack. For those who don't know, Jack said you guys were going to beat us 3-0 on our podcast.
Well, so I was hopeful.
Yeah, I think Philly's face sort of says it all, doesn't it? I'm going to try and stay confident because we've beaten Sheffield Wednesday a couple of weeks ago. So I think with you guys selling out, the atmosphere will be. I mean, if you've been to Sincil Bank before, you'll know what the atmosphere is like with a sold out crowd. It's unbelievable. So I'm going to say that probably play into our favour and probably Chris Maguire's favour. And I think we could nick it 2-1 or 1-0. But again, like you, Jack, I would not be surprised to see you walk all over us. But I'm going to remain positive, and I'm going to go 2-1, just like last minute Maguire volley, Pompey style at the Stadium of Light, perhaps. And I really hope it's in front of the Stacey West End as well, just to like rub the salt in a bit more.
Get him off. Kick him.
Yeah.
Well, I liked you before. It's just starting to like it.
Jake, thanks for coming on just before you leave.
Hang on. I've got a question.
Sorry, go on then.
I'm a
question. I not want to. Jake, have you subscribed to our channel yet?
Yes, mate. Do you know what? I subscribed, Philly. So it was 2019, I think, and it was you played us at our ground, and we beat you 2-0 because Tyler Walker scored twice and missed a penalty. And I came home and I wanted some reaction because obviously we never played you guys in the league before. And I remember watching your fan cams and I just thought, my God, that's brilliant. So I thought I'd just subscribe. And then obviously we've crossed each other's paths a lot, haven't we, over the last sort of 3 years? I mean, probably to more our delight than yours. But
Jake, I've been telling these to get you on for ages. Honestly, I've said you're the best.
Yeah, you've never heard of him.
What? Best Lingham fan we know, definitely without a doubt.
I should hope so. I'm the only one.
No, you're not. We know lots of them, but we chose you.
We've got a massive Excel spreadsheet full of them.
Yeah.
Can
it's good.
Can I ask him my question to Jake? Just
of course. I just thought we were coming around. That's all.
No. Just from a neutral's perspective, Jake. I'm always interested to hear what other fans think of Sunderland at this level. And there's this attitude towards Sunderland fans that we're arrogant, that we demand to be top of the league and battering teams, and we think we've got this God-given right to get promotion. Do you see Sunderland? Do you think Sunderland, in my opinion, aiming for automatic promotion at this level isn't unrealistic? I think we are getting there, and I think obviously we've been getting there a while, but I think that should be our aim every season. We're at this level, should be to gain automatic promotion. Playoffs at the worst, but do you know what I mean? Do you think as a Lincoln fan, as a neutral, we are arrogant supporters and an arrogant fan base for wanting promotion at this level? Or do you think that maybe it's a bit more realistic than perhaps your ambitions to get promoted, maybe?
Good question, Jack.
You've set me up to fail here, Jack, haven't you? Christ alive. If I say anything other, but you know, the one thing I did mention this to Jack when we shot my pod earlier. When Patrick Roberts signed, I just saw all this hype and massive sort of excitement, thinking, oh God, he's going to be the best player in League One. And he only scored his first goal on Saturday. And I'm not sure, it could be injuries, it could be whatever. I don't think he's lived up to the billing. Obviously, you guys, you guys will tell me more. But I can understand your expectations. Obviously, you guys were in the Premier League for a long time. You don't deserve to be at this level. But you have to also factor in there are 5 or 6 teams that also think they belong at the level above. I mean, you probably belong at the table above that table as well. Do I think you're arrogant? Perhaps a little bit. Some of you, but everyone's got those supporters, haven't they? I went to Rotherham on Tuesday night, and I was stood right in front of some absolute arrogant Lincoln City fans, thinking, "Oh well, we beat Sheffield Wednesday. We should beat these quite comfortably." Do you know what I mean? So I don't think you.
Sorry, Jake. I was with an arrogant Sunderland fan when I went to Wigan with us. He kept shouting at our goalie and everything.
Oh, it must. Who was that? That must have been one of these two.
Dodsey up there. All right.
Oh no,
he was.
Dodsey, no.
I'm not arrogant in the slightest, Phil.
Right.
Are you both done now, or is there going to be any more tears when we round off the next segment?
Well done.
Can I ask him one more question? Just quickly though, Jake, is there a really, really lovely waffle place in Lincoln?
Is there a really what?
A lovely waffle place.
Waffle? Oh God!
Do waffles.
Yeah, Casper's. Do you know what Casper? You guys got Casper's up there?
The desserts place. That's everywhere. That.
Yeah.
Is it?
I mean, I tell you what. Sometimes, Philly, are you coming down for the game?
I'm not, because I'm a grafter, so I've got to work.
Yeah.
But these two are.
Sometimes we have a fan zone behind the opposite goal to where you guys are, and sometimes there is a dessert place that does waffles in there, and they're really nice. I mean, I've not had one, but they look amazing. So
it's just that Emma asked the question on the chat down here, I can verify Emma has eaten a lot of waffles. So she says that they're really nice in Lincoln. So there you go.
Can I just ask as well? Is there as much waffle as way Philly?
Hey! Just let me do that. There you go. We'll get
Jake, thanks for joining us. Before you do go, we'd just like to give another mention as to where people can find you and the Stacey West podcast and where you are.
Yeah, so I run the Stacey West YouTube channel, which is the add-on to the Stacey West podcast, which is you can find on Apple, Spotify. We'll be doing it. In fact, we've got one going up tomorrow at lunchtime for previewing this game. My preview with Jack will go up at 12:30 tomorrow. Hopefully, if I can get that edited before I go to sleep. But Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and then Stacey West YouTube. I'm trying to get to 500 subs by the end of 2022 or the end of the season. I'm not too fussed. But if you could come and subscribe, I would massively appreciate it.
Jake, is it just called the Stacey West? Is that what it is?
Yes, the website. Yeah, the pod is called the Stacey.
There you go. We've just subscribed to you there. All
Wicked.
right. And we'll do it on our individual channels as well. There you go.
Wicked. Thank you very much, guys.
Super.
Cheers. See you, Jake.
All the best for the rest of the season, apart from Saturday. All right.
You as well.
Cheers.
There we go then. Some interesting thoughts from Jake. Lads, of course, we can kind of get onto the more Sunderland side of things. Yeah, that's brilliant. Oh, I was enjoying that, really. We can get the more Sunderland side of things, really. I felt there's been a little bit of criticism of Alex Neil when we've been getting good results. That he's been prone to still chopping and changing his team after that. I'm just tempted to know kind of who stays and who remains from Saturday's team. From Tuesday night, from Saturday's team going into Lincoln away. Jack, I'll start with you. Is there anyone in particular you think needs to start, or anyone who needs to keep the place, or alternatively anyone who needs to be dropped?
I would drop Corey Evans, but then that's kind of a standard with me, isn't it? I think he doesn't offer absolutely anything at all. So I would probably drop him. Who would I bring in? I'm just trying to remind myself because I'm used to having a Tuesday game, so it's a bit more fresh in your memory. But I'm having to go back to Saturday. So Dan Neil. Dan Neil in for Corey Evans would be what I would do. Very good technique on the ball, Dan Neil. Obviously got the goal last week, didn't he? Very well taken goal. Might boost his confidence a little bit. So I think that would be my first change. I don't know. It's a bit of a difficult one because I'm tempted to say go Defoe game, but I don't know if Defoe really, do we have to alter our team setup to get Defoe to start? And I think away from home, to particularly, sometimes you have to be brave to put two up front. So I know it's not going to go down well with the fans on the chat, but I'll maybe give him a rest and maybe bring someone a bit more of a midfielder or attacking midfielder into the role. Someone, I'm trying to think of who now.
Diaku, I thought Diaku did well when he came on.
Yeah, somebody like that, somebody who can maybe link up play between the middle and the strike. I mean, we know what Jermaine Defoe is all about. You know, if you get a chance in the box, he's gonna probably put it away. But I don't think he's contributed as much as we would like, and I think we could maybe fit our. You know, we're having to kind of alter our team just to get him in, and I think that's not always the best thing to do. Be a great option off the bench if we need a goal. Hopefully we don't, but if we do need him, 20 minutes to go to get a goal. But maybe Embleton or Dijaco in, like Philly said, for Defoe.
Yeah, quickly back to the live chat. Ian Wilkinson on there says drop Gooch and drop Defoe. So agreeing with maybe Jack's point of view on Defoe there. Gordon Seymour as well saying Emma waffles all the time. Lol, and John Forbes joining in with the waffle conversation saying stop waffling on. Philly, I'll go to you now. Is there anything you would change or keep the same from our last game going into Saturday?
I can't believe Gordon with very good eyesight has said that Emma eats waffles all the time. That's a little bit rude, but never mind.
Rude for you to keep bringing it up, Philly.
It's one of them. And it, Jack, where, you know, I'm a firm believer. I'm not changing a winning team, though it's been absolutely dreadful. But we've been getting the points, so it's like, for me, you know, you want to watch a great game, but if I watch Saturday's game and we are absolutely dreadful, but we're coming away with 3 points, I'm not bothered. I mean, we watched the game against Charlton the other week, and I thought they were brilliant. They passed the ball about well. It was lovely play, but we only got a point. And we even said after that game, you know, I'd rather have that ugly win. I'm not sure that Alex Neil's kept the same team twice yet, and I don't know if that's been because of injuries and stuff and what have you. But yeah, I think the obvious one is, you know, Corey Evans. But you know, you could say we've had a team there that won. Do we not just stick with that? I do think they maybe dropping Defoe, you know, and use him as an impact player coming on. I thought Diaku, like I said, I thought Diaku was quite impressive when he came on Saturday. So you know that could be ideal. Get rid of Defoe and bring Diaku on. It's all about the points. I'm not bothered. He could play the under 23s for me, so long as we get the 3 points. It's just I like what he said, where he's been saying, you know, we know it's ugly and it's not good to watch, but at the end of the day, they've got the job done. And they've
I think also what he's done, he's tightened us up at the back as well. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we weren't conceding too many goals, but you look at the last 7 or 8 games now. You know, we've kept 2 or 3 clean sheets, and if we have conceded, I think we've only conceded 1 in the last 4. I might be wrong, but I think we conceded that sloppy goal against who was it that we beat 3-1? Wickham. That's it. No, sorry, who? Fleetwood, that's it, Fleetwood. We conceded that sloppy goal against Fleetwood, but other than that, we've been pretty tight at the back. So I know what Phil's saying, you do want to see a little bit of entertainment in a win, but I think sometimes them type of wins I get a little bit more enjoyment out of a scrappy 1 or 2-0, because I think if you're winning when you're not playing well and you're grinding results out, I always think that's a sign of a team that's going places. And I think you're not always going to play well. I mean, every Sunderland fan goes to the game, home or away, wanting to play well and wanting to be 3-0 up and seeing loads of goals. But a lot of the time, you're not going to play very well. Well, some of the time at least. So I think what you need to make sure you're grinding results out. And as Phil's touched on, the last 2 games have been pretty poor to watch. But 6 points, and I think that comes from a solid base at the back. I think if we can go there and keep it tight, you know, on Saturday, I can see us nicking this 1-0. Do you know what I mean? I don't think there'll be a great deal in the game. I think maybe our little bit of extra kind of quality in the final third should hopefully, fingers crossed, get us over the line.
Yeah. I agree with Jack there. It's that thing about, you know, if you're winning when you're not playing well, it's always a good sign, that, because once you do improve, you know, things are looking up. JD?
Yeah, I think I listened to Alex Neil on the Unfiltered podcast that Frankie and Danny do. It was a good listen. I would recommend anyone.
Was that your friends? Your famous friends?
Time to go and listen to
that all the time.
Shut up. It's on. There we go. It's on YouTube as well as other podcasting platforms, you know, Spotify, etc. And I thought it was interesting how Alex Neil said, you know, he does just take it game by game. He had a lot of emphasis on he doesn't necessarily always have a specific brand of football he wants to play. He does want to implement one over a period of time, but for the here and now, he does take it game by game, and that's why sometimes players who maybe played well in one game, you know, get rested or rotated the next one. Or, you know, he might change a tactical formation that worked quite well against one team and drop it and go for something different in another. So I think after listening to that, I now wouldn't be surprised at any changes that are made now from now the end of the season, and I expect them to treat Lincoln with the same kind of attitude, really. Should we get on the score predictions then, lads? I think so. Jack, how do you think the game's going to go on Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, I think it'll be another. No, I think we are going to win. I think there'll be another game though, whereby unfortunately for Phil, who's wanting to see some good entertainment, I don't think he's going to see it. I think it'll be a bit of a scrappy affair, but I think we might just have enough to get out on top. And I think the momentum at the minute, I know I've spoken about quite a lot. People are probably bored of hearing us say, but I think the momentum's key. If we can keep this winning going and hopefully go into the playoffs on the back of a good run, that significantly improves our chances of winning the playoffs in my eyes. So I think a tight 2-1 Sunderland. I think it'll be scrappy. It wouldn't surprise us if we did concede, but I think we'll come out of it with 3 points.
Fair enough. And I think at this point in the season, as much as you do want to see good performances to fill yourself with confidence that you can, you know, go and beat teams 9 out of 10 times in the day, I feel as if at the moment, you know, we are 3 or 4, you know, results away from feeling comfortable by any stretch of the imagination. So I think, you know, now it is purely just about getting the results over, at least for the next few games, and hopefully the performances will come with that over time. I predicted 3-0 myself, which I think Jake referred to when he was talking about the podcast me and him did. I just feel like
he referred to you as an idiot without saying it, is what I think he was trying to say.
Well, he wouldn't be the first, and he certainly won't be the last. Yeah, I feel like Lincoln haven't got a great day to play for. They're only maybe 1 or 2 wins from absolutely confirming the safety. Equally, they've got no real hope of kind of pushing on for anything above them. And we've got everything to play for. So I'm hoping that I'll go into our favour and they'll be a bit more leisured, not needing a point, so they might be a bit more open. But equally, you know, as well, they're not desperate to kind of go forward because they don't need a win, whereas we do. Philly, a score prediction from yourself?
Well, like Jack says, as much as I would love to see an entertaining game, I don't think we're going to get it. It'll be an ugly win. This may surprise you, but I'm going to go for Lincoln City 1, Sunderland 3.
Wow!
Imagine my shock.
I am.
Yeah, I just my only fear is that Chris Maguire has another like brilliant game, and that's the only spanner in the works. What could cause us problems as well.
But not the only spanner in the chat.
Yeah, somebody
Don't
said
wind them up, Will. Just I hope our fans just don't wind them up. I know our fans like to get on players' backs, but they usually, you know, do well when they do that. So just concentrate on us, and I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen. He's going to get stick in it without a doubt. It's going to happen. JD,
Come quiet.
well, I went JD. I was handing it back to our host, but he's just.
Oh, apologies. I've been having a few connection problems throughout tonight's stream.
Did you forget your initials?
Well, just before you do that, look, I'll tell you what. Then we've got 89 likes, and we like to try and hit 100 if we can on a Thursday. So if 11 people just smash that thumbs up, that will help us out. It's free to do so. Just hit the thumbs up, get us to 100. And don't forget, of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. It's free to subscribe, and everybody who subscribes from now to the end of the show will get a free waffle down in Lincoln. Jack, are you back online with us?
I am. When I plug my charger with my laptop, it does tend to improve the connection. So hopefully I should be able to stay with you for the remaining minute or so I've got the show. But as Phil says, of course, if you haven't already, please do leave a like and subscribe. It's free to do both. It helps us out immensely. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Philly, would like to say goodbye to everyone. Good evening. Take care, etc.
Yeah, don't forget, if you're a member, by the way, your name will scroll up in the credits at the end, so watch out for that. And thanks for watching tonight, and we'll be back with a live stream of Lincoln City versus Sunderland. That'll be on Saturday from our studio in Spain. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you later. Miscal.
Jack, have you got any words for our lovely viewers this evening?
No, I think we need to wrap it up and stop waffling on. But see you later, lads and lasses.
That's the funniest thing you've ever said. Ever.
I mean, to be fair, it's not a great deal of competition for that. Thank you, everyone, for watching. If you haven't already, please do leave a like and subscribe. We'll see you for the live stream on Saturday, and of course for the Sunday Bud. From myself, from Wee Philly, and from Jack Shields. Thank you for watching. Have a great evening. Take care. And Philly, round us off with
Miscal.